Good evening, everyone, and welcome. I am here with Dr. Udani, and we're going to be talking about Candida and how we can know if we have it for sure and how we can overcome this common yeast overgrowth. This comes from a Dr. Jocker's article on the best home and lab test for Candida. If you have any questions, please feel free to give Dr. Udani a text. She'll be happy to answer all of your questions. And I wanted to welcome Dr. Udani here. She's our licensed naturopathic doctor here at Justine Blainey Wellness Center. And she is very passionate and has some very special interests in health, including women's health, skin conditions, stress, chronic pain. And she really loves to talk about digestion. She genuinely believes everyone has the ability for healthy, long-lasting changes. Please help me welcome Dr. Udani.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining myself and Angela today. We have an amazing talk coming up. Before that, I want to just jump into some of our exciting upcoming webinars. So we have an in-person event coming up, Dine with the Doc, Managing Holiday Stress Talk. It's going to be in person. If you'd like to attend, please make sure that you check with our friend Des and sign up with them. We also have an amazing talk coming up about using affirmations to build your confidence. This is super important, for our mental health and our outlook. And we have another one about improving your daily productivity and how it's possible with Dr. Justine. And we have another one coming up about if you're ready for the holidays. So things to make the holiday season easier, make things go a little bit smoother. That's coming up. And we have a sleep slumber workshop with myself and Dr. Justine about how to get the best sleep. So a lot of exciting things coming up, and I hope that you can join us for these talks. So today we're going to talk about this yeast called Candida and how Candida overgrowth can really cause a lot of issues with our bodies, and also how to test for this, and also to find some strategies to manage Candida. So let's jump right in. So basically what we really want is, we want that normal immune system response, right? When, in our gut, we have lots of diversity. I like to think of it as a nice neighborhood where you have lots of friendly neighbors, the homes are clean, there's no garbage out, everyone's being responsible, taking care of their lawns, and everything just looks really nice and organized. So that is similar to a healthy gut. Everything is balanced, there's richness, there's diversity, the community is really healthy. But what can happen is sometimes there could be bad neighbors. Bad neighbors can move in, invaders can come out of nowhere and can cause the neighborhood to become really messy, dirty, and just kind of not have the same safety and the good health that it used to have. And this is what can happen when you have an overgrowth of unfriendly bacteria, overgrowth of yeast, fungi, parasites, viruses. These are the bad guys that they come in and they wreak havoc. And this is when our immune system can go into overdrive, trying to, kick them out, trying to get rid of these guys. And that can lead to a lot of things like food sensitivities, autoimmune conditions, allergies, even things like diabetes, heart disease, high blood pressure, arthritis. These are all can be linked to, in some part, to a leaky gut or an unhealthy gut. And Candida overgrowth can definitely be part of this unhealthy gut. So let's talk a little bit more about what is Candida. So Candida is a type of fungus or yeast. So what is yeast? Yeast is what, if you think about yeast, it's what makes the bread rise. It's a type of organism that can cause a lot of fermentation to happen, a lot of gas to build up. And there's different species, very, very different species. So the yeast that makes the bread rise is not Candida. It's a different kind of yeast. So Candida is a type of yeast that is normally present in the body, okay? And it's in the normal levels. Candida is a good neighbor. Candida likes to, help out. It's doing well. It's keeping the environment in your gut healthy. And our immune system, it responds well with the immune system. And so in the right amounts, it's good. But what can happen is when it starts to grow and when it starts to overgrow, that's when then health problems can happen. And some of these health problems can include digestive problems, things like excessive burping, bloating, gas, just diarrhea, things like that. Lots of fatigue, so you can just feel really tired, lots of brain fog, memory issues, recurring fungal infections, so things like yeast infections, toenail fungal infections, itchy skin, eczema, psoriasis, even acne, and mood swings, and many more conditions can be attributed to this overgrowth of Candida. So basically, what are the implications? So what's really what happens when Candida goes crazy and starts to grow? So overgrowth of Candida, it can cause an infection called candidiasis. So this is the medical term for an overgrowth of Candida. Now, and so there's different types of candidiasis, including thrush. So this is when you have it in the mouth and the throat, that really thick white coating. Genital yeast infections can be a sign of overgrowth of Candida. Diaper rash from the yeast infection, so that's that itchy, really raw, scaly feeling, the rashes. But sometimes you can even get a very serious life-threatening infection called invasive candidiasis. And this is when the Candida isn't just limited to your skin or your gut, but it actually breaks through and enters your bloodstream, and it can travel to your heart, your brain, and your lungs and the bones. And the eyes as well. So if Candida goes unchecked, it can really start to overtake you and overtake your immune system and cause all of these issues too. So this is why it's really important to figure out how can we manage this. So the biggest the bad guy in the Candida family, let's say, think about it, because there's different kinds of Candida species too. So Candida albicans, Candida krusei, there's so many other ones. So think of them as one big family. The most researched species of Candida type is Candida albicans. So this is a Candida that is, when it overgrows, you get a lot of those symptoms that I mentioned. So what can happen is, that's what we need to kind of figure out, because sometimes this Candida, it is in high amounts in a lot of people, but we just don't know, because we're trying to figure out, why am I feeling this way? Why am I feeling tired all the time? But because we don't have an outright yeast infection or an outright toenail fungus infection or outright white coating on the tongue, we think that it's not necessarily be Candida, but it could still be Candida, but just in a very microscopic level, causing all of this inflammation. So that's the root of it, of your symptoms could be because of the Candida infection. And that's why, as a naturopath, I like to look into the root cause of what's going on with you. So when a patient comes in with these concerns, I, of course, kind of try to take into account, okay, could this be Candida overgrowth? Because it's actually a very, very, it's becoming a very common condition in the North American society because of our diet. So let's go into how this Candida, which areas are affected by Candida overgrowth. So like I mentioned, our diet can be a huge trigger for Candida. So Candida loves sugar, okay? Loves it. It's obsessed with sugar. It loves sugar, loves bread, carbs, fries, potatoes, you name it. Highly processed, refined carbohydrates, lots of sugar, and alcohol, namely wine, red wine, beer. So there's a lot of calories and carbs in them too, and sugars. Candida loves them. Okay, so if a patient comes to me and they tell me they have sugar cravings, or they drink, a lot of wine or a lot of beer, a bell goes in my head to think, okay, maybe there is an overgrowth of Candida that they are dealing with here that's causing some of these symptoms that I mentioned. Also, things like prescription hormones. So taking birth control pills, antibiotics. So why would antibiotics cause Candida overgrowth? So antibiotics are only designed to kill bacteria. It's not designed to kill yeast or fungus, right? So imagine in that neighborhood I mentioned, the antibiotics come in, take away all the bacteria, and now there's all of these empty houses, this real estate that the Candida can come into and just start to populate. So taking too many antibiotics can cause an overgrowth of Candida as well. And a high stress lifestyle is another huge factor, because stress depletes your nutrients and it also depletes your immune system. You also don't get enough sleep, when you're stressed. So all of these compound to cause Candida overgrowth. So take a little bit of water. So like I mentioned, these are some of the factors that can cause a Candida or a yeast infection. Prolonged use of antibiotics, prolonged use of birth control pills, smoking. Cigarette smoking can decrease the oxygen level in your body, and that creates an environment that is perfect for Candida. You can have there you go. You can have if you take a lot of antacids or things like the acid blockers. Basically, when you take acid blockers, it blocks the acid in the stomach. So if you are taking in Candida, if you have if you're taking a lot of the vegetables and the foods, and they don't have they have bacteria in them, that there's not enough acid to kill them. So there's not enough acid to get rid of the Candida and the yeast as well. So it just kind of comes into your gut. So lots of good bacteria, of course. When you take antibiotics, it doesn't just kill the bad guys, it kills the good guys too. And of course, having a highly processed, lots of sugary sweet foods, it also doesn't necessarily grow the good guys, it tends to grow the bad guys. So you have that imbalance as well. And lots of sweets, like I mentioned, lots of sweets. Even let's see, if you think about, if you have a Starbucks drink every day and it's a Frappuccino, there's a lot of sugar in those coffee drinks. So you got to keep an eye on that as well, because the more sugar you eat, the more chance of a Candida overgrowth that you're creating in your body. It can also be sexually transmitted as well. So these are some symptoms and health problems, like I mentioned, that it can be a result of overgrowth of Candida. A lot of times, skin problems, skin conditions, so eczema, psoriasis, hives, rashes, athlete's foot, that reddish rash can appear in even near your groin area, and wherever it's wet, like humid. So it could be under the breast, could be in the sometimes in the armpits, but definitely in the toes. When it's moist and humid, can help Candida grow. Vaginal infections is common as well. UTIs. Itching. So a lot of itchiness can be a result of Candida because of some of the toxic metabolites that it releases into the body. It causes the itchy reaction in the body. And so another big factor is fatigue. So when you have an overgrowth of Candida, the Candida is eating up all of your nutrients, it's taking up all the sugar, it's releasing toxins, and your body's having a hard time fighting it off. So you're going to feel tired. You're just going to feel really brain foggy, memory issues, even physically tired, physically weak as well. So these are the health problems, like I mentioned before: digestive issues, fatigue, brain fog, skin problems, mood swings, and many more. So people with that have more Candida tends to be on the more anxious side. They tend to be a little bit more OCD as well, overthinking. These are all related to some of the neurotoxins that Candida releases that can cause all of these stresses. So if any of these symptoms sound like you, this is time to really speak to a naturopath, such as myself, to figure out, okay, could Candida be one of the causes of what's going on? So like I mentioned, when Candida is a good person, when Candida is under control, it does help your digestive tract to absorb nutrients with digestion. But when there's overgrowth, it can cause leaky gut, because now Candida is too grown, it's releasing all of these toxins and is causing holes in the gut lining, and that's allowing food particles, bacteria, viruses, other things to come through, and the immune system is high alert and tries to attack it, and that can cause a lot of damage. Also, Candida will use up a lot of your nutrients that you take up to grow itself. So it's kind of a lose-lose situation when it's too grown. So that's why we want to make sure it's under control. So these are some of the other health problems. So it's a lot. There's a huge variety of health problems that Candida can cause because of how it can affect really different parts of the body. So some of the things that you might not think Candida can cause is indecisiveness. So if you're feeling indecisive a lot, all of a sudden, and you also have sugar cravings, there might be a connection there with Candida. Depression, Anxiety, memory problems, another one. Of course, fungal infections, acne, muscle weakness can be things too. A lot of gut problems can also be because of Candida as well. Okay, so now this is another one where this is one of the reasons why Candida can affect your immune system and liver function, because the liver is your main detox organ, right? It's supposed to kind of clear out and detox your body from excess medications, excess harmful toxins and things like that. But some of the byproducts that's released by Candida can disrupt the liver function, especially gliotoxins, for example, can really slow down the liver's function, can disrupt its activity, and that can actually cause the liver to obviously not detox properly. So you can it's not, so the liver's not going to be able to support the immune system, the rest of the body, and that is going to create a perfect environment for Candida to grow even more. So it's a vicious cycle. That's why we want to really get to the root of it and clear it out, control that overgrowth, and just really have a good protocol. So this is why, first we got to figure out, do you have Candida? Could Candida be one of the reasons you're feeling this way? So it's important to test for Candida to figure out, okay, this is the root cause of what's happening, and we can see how to get you to feel better. So there are multiple tests that can help with figuring out how to test for Candida. So let's go into some of these ones. So there are some at-home tests as well. There's a Candida questionnaire that you can do at home to see, okay, do most of these symptoms sound like me? There is a Candida spit test, which is not the most accurate test, to be honest, to do. So I recommend the questionnaire or doing the lab tests. Really, the lab tests are pretty much the gold standard to figuring out, okay, is there a Candida overgrowth that's happening in you? So let's dive deep into some of these ones. The first one is called an OAT test, or comprehensive organic acid test. Okay, so this is a very comprehensive test which I can order, and I usually go explain it with my patients to explain to them what could be unbalanced and not unbalanced. So this is another really great test to do. So this is basically organic acids, or think of them as these chemicals that are removed in our urine. So this is a bit of a urine test, and it's present 100 times more in the concentration in urine than in blood. So it's easier to test in urine. And basically this tests for various different metabolites, so byproducts of Candida, to see, okay, are you high in these byproducts? And if you are high in them, then there's a chance that you have an overgrowth of Candida. So this is actually a very commonly used test that as a naturopath I order for if I am concerned that my patient has Candida. This is another amazing test as well. So this is called GI-MAP DNA stool analysis. So this test is actually not just for Candida. This is great if you are concerned that you have overgrowth of parasites, overgrowth of certain dangerous bacteria in the gut system. So this is a stool test, and it's a take-home stool test. And basically, it is very thorough. It tests for many different strains of these fungi and bacteria and parasites and things like that. And it also tests for H. pylori and all of those things. So the DNA test is a little bit more accurate than a regular like visual stool test, or a test to looking for parasite eggs, for example, because it's testing with the DNA, it's going to the microscopic level. So it's going to really get into the details and really figure out, okay, is this particle, or is this DNA of this particular, if the Candida is actually there? Because we can't really see Candida with the naked eye. So having a DNA test is much more accurate way of figuring out, okay, do you have Candida or not? Another one is called a digestive health panel. Also so this is a panel for 48 different types of yeast and fungus species. So, this will test for beneficial bacteria and also the bad pathogenic bacteria and other microorganisms as well. So with this test, it tests for both cultured and microscopic yeast for accuracy. So like I mentioned, it's hard to see the Candida, the naked eye. So, sometimes you want to kind of do both testing to figure out, okay, where is there a presence of Candida in your stool? It's another stool test. The fourth test is a food sensitivity test. So it's an IgG food sensitivity test that can also test for Candida. So this one is really, it's a blood test. So this would be good if you're really feeling very fatigued and you're just wondering, okay, it's like you have that all of that brain fog, the joint pains, the muscle pains, because that's a sign that the Candida is no longer really in just in the gut. It's kind of spread all over the body. So it's traveling through the bloodstream to get into these spaces. So doing a blood test can help us figure out, okay, is there Candida present in the whole body now? So another great test to figure out. I would say, in my opinion, the first test I look for is the O test, which is the first one we talked about. And then I would go more in depth if needed with the stool test to see if there's other players that are playing as well. So all of these tests can actually be ordered by a naturopathic doctor here in Ontario. So if you're curious about this, or if you're wondering if you want to get tested, I would love to talk to you. I offer a free 15-minute meet and greets for them. So this is an at-home test. It's a questionnaire that you can try to see to figure out, okay, do I have these symptoms that could potentially be caused by Candida? And it's developed by Dr. William Crook, and he is one of the doctors that actually brought into the awareness of this yeast overgrowth. So basically, with this questionnaire, so you want to it's different for women and men. So the score of 10 or greater for women, and score of 8 or greater for men. So usually, Candida tends to affect equally both, but of course, as women, we're more prone to yeast infections and things like that. So sometimes Candida can be more prevalent in women, but it can still be very prevalent in men because of the diet, alcohol usage, weight can be a factor too. So now that we talked about, what is Candida, what are some of the symptoms that can be a sign of Candida overgrowth, and some of the tests, I want to just go over some of the ways that we can beat Candida as well. The 5 steps to beating Candida. First one, like I mentioned, we gotta look into nutrition. Candida loves sugar, so if you want to starve Candida, we have to cut out the sugar. So with an anti-Candida diet, this is a diet you usually do for about 6 weeks, where you strictly cut off really most sugars, most starchy vegetables, carbohydrates. It's a pretty strict diet, but you can definitely add in lots of protein, lots of meats, uh, as long as they're fresh. You don't want it to be super fermented either, because we don't want too much fermentation when it's yeast, right? We want fresh fruits, low sugar fruits like berries, fresh vegetables that are not super starchy. So think, kale, bok choy, Brussels sprouts, things like that. And also lots of garlic, lots of coconut oil is amazing for reducing. It's antifungal, so it can help balance your Candida levels. Garlic, oregano, thyme, rosemary, lots of herbs and lots of spices help as well. So you want to have a diet that is an anti-Candida diet that helps starve the Candida out of you. And when you're starving the Candida out of you, and when you're killing the Candida, it is very common for patients to experience a worsening of their symptoms. Okay, so this is why it's important to have somebody on your team that can guide you through this process, because I don't want you to do this by yourself. We want you to know that we're here for you, because when the Candida is leaving your system, it's going to release inflammatory toxins as like a last chance effort to hold on to you. So just in those times, it's important to figure out a right way to detox it properly as well. Second is antimicrobial support. So while we're starving the Candida, we can help with kind of killing it even more. And because one of the things that Candida does is it releases something called biofilm, which helps it hide and evade the immune system. So having natural antimicrobials like black walnut, like garlic capsules, oregano, coconut oil, will really help to kill the Candida. And then having something to bind to those toxins, think charcoal, think humic acid, fulvic acid, to bind to these toxins as it's leaving your body, as the Candida is leaving your body, is very important. And this is where, you don't have to do this alone. Like I mentioned, have a team with you, have a support system, have a naturopath on your side to guide you through this process. We also want to improve your liver function, of course, right? Liver function and kidney function too. So lots of water, definitely water helps immensely. B vitamins, magnesium, milk thistle, curcumin, turmeric, these are all amazing for helping, improving, and boosting your liver function. The good thing about the liver is any damage it has, it is reversible. And so we want to really kind of soothe and heal the liver and support the liver function, and it will get back into this tip-top shape. And we also want to strengthen the immune system. So everything that we're doing, right, all those steps before it is helping strengthen the immune system because it's taking off the load of Candida. So, but you can also definitely give yourself, things like vitamin D, zinc, vitamin C, lots of rest, lots of good sleep, good quality supplements as well can help strengthen your immune system. And we want to, after while we're doing all of this, we don't want our gut lining to be affected. So we want to help the gut lining by healing it, soothing it, and restoring it with the right kind of protocol and right kind of supplements. So the 5 steps of beating Candida is, first, you want to make sure you have a proper diet that starves the Candida. Give yourself the natural antimicrobials that can kill the Candida, improving the liver function so that way it helps flush and detox it out of your body, and strengthen your immune system with proper sleep, stress management, diet, and everything that we talked about. And restoring the gut lining will go a huge way. And I want to reiterate that you don't need to do this on your own, because this can be a process, right? It doesn't happen overnight. It can sometimes go until months, depending on how bad the Candida overgrowth is. So that's why, have somebody on your team, have a support system to help you go from all of these steps. So that was the end of our talk, and we hope that it was informative for you. There's a lot that we covered, so if you have any questions, please feel free to send me a text. I'd love to talk more about it. So these are some of our upcoming webinars. I'm going to go quickly over them. We have Dine with the Doc, Managing Holiday Stress Talk coming up soon. It's exciting. You get to meet Dr. Justine in person. And please, if you're interested, sign up with the front desk. We also have affirmations to build your confidence coming up as well, improving your daily productivity, which is 100% possible. Even during the year's end, Christmas time, it is definitely possible to improve your productivity. And are you ready for the holidays? Let's think about some tips to make your holiday season healthy and less stressful. And we're also going to be having a slumber workshop to help you get the best sleep as the new year is coming up. So please tune in for these talks and more, and we'd love to have you connect with us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, website. We are here for you. If you have any ideas for future talks, we're open for, any tips and suggestions as well. So have a lovely rest of your evening, and I hope to see you next time.
Thank you so much, Dr. Udani. Great information. Have a great evening, everyone.
Take care, everybody.